I'd like to start by expressing some thanks and gratitude for this summit, which I found to just be really amazing over the last 2 days. More specifically, first of all, I would like to thank my amazing team at Prysm Group for putting together these different panels and these different speakers, as well as our thought partners at McKinsey Company, with a particular thanks to who provided a lot of input and support. I'd like to also thank the All Seated team for providing technical support to many of you in this metaverse environment. It's been a really fun experience to use it, and I hope that we all get more fluent with these technologies as time goes on. Thirdly, I'd like to give a round of thanks to all of the speakers who participated and all of the moderators who participated over the last 2 days. We've heard so many amazing insights, such a wide variety of perspectives in these many sessions. Just a few nuggets that stood out to me in my talk with Raja Manar yesterday. He talked about the need to learn what emerging technologies really do, not just sort of surface level, but sort of understanding specifically what does the technology do. This morning was talking about bringing together blue jeans and suits, and I really liked that point and thought it was very pertinent. And then a little bit later this morning was talking about thinking about different types of constituents that need to be educated on emerging technologies, whether that's workforce, executive and board members, or outside constituents, customers and clients. I thought these were all really important points. And finally, I'd like to thank you, our amazing audience that has been so active in all of these sessions. Excuse me. I really enjoyed a lively discussion that happened yesterday talking about Nike and Starbucks NFT efforts that was sort of sparked by an audience question. And today, the conversation that sort of spilled over a couple of sessions about how valuable mid-career people are to emerging tech-oriented teams. These are just a few of the things that stuck out to me that I think that during my remaining remarks, I'll probably pull on a variety of different threads that we heard over the past 2 days. And so I really appreciate everyone who had input today. Emerging technologies, not just Web3, but sort of more expansively, are exciting because of their potential to cause disruption and have a real business impact. It's fun to work in fields that intersect with emerging technologies, and this is a huge thing that I love about working at Prysm Group, because the state of these technologies is constantly changing, and there's always something new to learn and to incorporate into your projects and practices. As said earlier today, we are all on a learning journey, and I really love that about emerging technologies. All of this, though, is kind of a double-edged sword. The things that make emerging technologies exciting and engaging also make it difficult to keep up with recent innovations and to understand the implications of those developments, particularly on one's own business. And we heard a lot of folks talking about those challenges today. Of course, you can't open the news on any given day without a handful of articles about some new emerging technology just falling right into your lap. And if you're actively researching these topics, it can be just an ocean of information on various different amazing new technologies and tools that are in early development or are coming into the market. Just as one example, and this example came up earlier today, the past few weeks, I think news on emerging technology has just been wall-to-wall spotlight on OpenAI's ChatGPT. And that's with really good reason. ChatGPT is the app that was the fastest to reach 100 million users, and they did that in just 2 months. That super fast adoption curve and people sharing responses that are generated by this tool with each other on social media, it's been really, really thrilling to watch. And it's clear that OpenAI has created something that is of great interest and value. I'd like to reiterate a point made yesterday, I think, by about how technological change seems to be sort of small and incremental, and then all of a sudden it seems to be a giant leap. And I think that this pattern is going to continue to hold across all emerging technologies, AI included. And I'll speak a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. So echoing some comments made this morning about the need for these new technologies to solve actual problems rather than just doing technology for technology's sake. At the same time that everyone has been sort of, or it seems like everyone has been oohing and eyeing about what Chat GPT has been delivering, some of the outputs that are shared on social media, folks are also trying to figure out what exactly is Chat GPT good for, and maybe conversely, what isn't it good for? So for example, Chat GPT is great at collating information and assembling lists, outlines, talking points. I didn't use it for this speech, but one could do that. At the same time, it can be tricked, and sometimes it gets information wrong. So it's less good at answering questions that need one definitive correct answer. So this is a big question. What can this tool be applied to? What can it not be applied to? What are the best use cases? But more pertinently to this audience, I think, there's also sort of this ongoing conversation, not just about how should individuals use a tool like ChatGPT, but how it will be used organizationally. How should it be applied in business? And how is it going to change organizations, change the way we organize, change the way we work? So this issue about figuring out how to incorporate and organize around new technologies that they're very clearly valuable, but they're not necessarily directly compatible with the way that we have been doing things. This is an age-old issue dating back at least to the steam engine. And I think that this is a big reason why we see this kind of cyclicality that we've been talking about, where things sort of simmer for a while, then there's a big breakthrough, then maybe things fizzle out and it's not maybe as exciting as we thought it was. But then suddenly businesses everywhere are using this new key technology. So all of this is to say, there's a lot to learn in emerging technologies, and there will continue to be a lot to learn in emerging technologies. There's a wide variety of technologies that will continue to experience these big booms and simmering moments as they get adopted. And I think the next 15 years are going to see as much change in the way people work and interact with technologies as the last 15 did since the launch of the iPhone. Blockchain, we've been talking about digital assets over the last 2 days, AR, VR, the metaverse, AI, cloud and edge computing, smart devices, Internet of Things, green technologies, energy, electric vehicles, and new technology categories that have yet to emerge that may come to the fore in the next 5 to 10 years. All of these are going to see lots of development, and that's going to be a lot to keep up with. So as Raja said yesterday, it's imperative that business leaders stay on top of all these developments. Otherwise, they'll get left behind. But more than that, they need to understand these technologies at a detailed level, not as an engineer or programmer, but understanding what the technology can do and what the technology can't do, and driving that kind of knowledge deep into organizations. You know, it was discussed earlier that part of the education problem is educating the C-suite and boards, but it's not just them. It's a large part of the workforce that really needs to understand these technologies. Teams who are creating strategies, teams that are building product, teams that are marketing product. So we may be able to gain some opportunities by putting those suits and the blue jeans together, but we still need to make sure that they aren't talking past one another, right? We want the suits to be able to learn from the blue jeans and the blue jeans to be able to learn from the suits. But that requires sort of creating some kind of shared language so that we can all learn together and grow together and create great solutions and great products. So the organizational need is there. There is and will continue to be much to learn. But there are several big challenges, I think, to achieving corporate learning goals when it comes to emerging technologies. And some of these were sort of highlighted today, I think. With any emerging technology, whether it's AI, blockchain, metaverse, businesses want to understand how the technology can be utilized so that they can stay competitive. When should it be implemented? Where should it be implemented? How should it be implemented? There are 3 key steps that have to be taken in order to begin to address these questions. 3 key steps from a learning perspective. The first is just wading through all of these announcements, analyzing all these technological trends, and trying to determine which of this stuff is actually worth paying attention to. There's, as I said, just an ocean of information, and some of these technologies and developments are going to become big and important, and some of them less so. The second is, after we've zeroed in on a particular set of emerging technologies that are relevant, we have to develop an appropriately detailed understanding of those technologies from a business perspective. And I know this was highlighted by several of the speakers today. So business decision makers need more than headlines and buzzwords in order to figure out, can we get a use case out of this? Can we build a product around this? But often the necessary information to get to that level of detail is buried in deep technical documents and textbooks. So finding that right path, that right line in the middle, not too technical, but also not too superficial, that can be a real challenge. And finally, contextualizing all of this information, all of these details about how to apply technology in order to determine what use cases are going to be most business relevant at our business. So those 3 steps, after those 3 steps are taken, an individual or a team will be ready to answer those when, where, and how questions about applying these technologies. This is an immense challenge for organizations and for corporate learning. These aren't small tasks. Each one takes a lot of time and dedication. And while some leaders may have access to experts, and some members of an organization may be able to spend hours of their own time engaged in this kind of in-depth learning, that's not scalable across an entire organization. So we really need to think about, how can we bring this kind of knowledge? How can we bring down the barriers of the amount of time you have to spend wading through all of this information in order to bring this knowledge, break down those language gaps, break down the walls between the blue jeans and the suits. So Prysm Group has recognized these challenges, and we've developed the First-Mover Economics Applied Learning Library in order to start addressing these issues and these challenges specifically. So our dedicated team curates innovations, technologies, and case studies. We break down each technology into its fundamental functions. What can this technology do? What can it not do? When we combine this detailed but not too technical insight on relevant technologies with fundamental concepts and frameworks from economics, which is our forte, and related business fields like strategy, marketing. And we do that to provide much needed context that business leaders can use to assess strategies and use cases. We also run workshops across 3 main themes: monetization and business models, efficiency and cost savings, and use cases and applications, to help organizations apply the learnings from the library to their business context via case study analysis, impact scoring frameworks, economic fundamentals, and opportunity assessments. We're very excited to provide this support to organizations as they address their emerging technology corporate learning needs. If you've not had a chance to connect with some of my teammates at our booth on the conference floor, Reed and Chris are there, and I recommend that you stop by. So thank you all again. I want to remind everyone that the floor will remain open for networking for just over an hour. We will close up at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you again, everyone, for your participation in this great event.